And raised in Mesa. I am a fourth generation Arizonan. My great-grandfather was a Salt River Pima Indian who lived on the north side of Mesa. I'm a product of Arizona's public schools. I went to Mesa High School. One of the coolest mascots around were the Jackrabbits. And yeah, great. I think it's like South Dakota, by the way, is also the Jackrabbits. And for me, I'm in front of you for two reasons. Number one, my dad went to work every single day. He was a commercial painter. And I can't tell you how important and how that is to a young person who needs stability in their lives. But I'm in front of you because my parents had a good public school to take me to. And growing up, I did have that opportunity. Now, my path forward, though, was through the military. I'd like to tell you that I took advantage of that opportunity and studied hard and got a scholarship and went on, and that would be false. Never got in trouble or anything, but teachers, educators out there, I was that student that you had to convince that what you were teaching them was relevant before they really paid attention. And that was me, and I went to the Army when I was 17. I joined the military when I was 17. My dad had to sign for me to go to basic training because I couldn't sign for myself. I was an 11 Bravo. Basically what that is, if those of you in the military know, it's your basic infantryman, your standard soldier. Grab an N16 and walk. And it was the best experience for me because I got a chance to grow up. And more importantly, and also equally important, is I got a chance to take advantage of one of our best social programs, and that is the GI Bill. A chance to earn your way for college money, and that's what I did. I came home again and I went to ASU, so I'll admit it up front, I am a Sun Devil, folks. I know. But take a look at our materials. You're going to see my wife, Lori, who I assure you is better looking, and I assure you is way more intelligent. She is a wildcat, so we are well represented in our home. We have two daughters, one's a Sun Devil, one's a wildcat, so we're keeping the tradition going. I then went to ASU, did much better, and I graduated from the University of Chicago with a PhD. By the way, my wife got her law degree there. Barack Obama was one of her professors at the time. And so the most vivid memory I have of him is smoking in the back of the law school. I wish I had a better one, but that's the one that sticks. Sorry, you can't decide those things. And at that point, Lori and I could have gone anywhere and contributed, and we chose to come home to build. As the first in our families to go to college, like a lot of our young people, we felt compelled to come home. So I came home with a skill set in statistics and worked at the state legislature. I worked at the legislature for a while. I was the associate superintendent for the state of Arizona, so I've been in an executive position for the state. But my goal in life was to become a professor. And I finally got that shot 12 years ago, and I have been a professor at ASU since then. And it's a phenomenal gig. You work with young people who are interested and interesting, and I really enjoy it. But in 2013, I was sick and tired of what our legislature was doing to public education. And I stepped up to run for state superintendent of public instruction that year. Anybody remember that year? Yeah. It was a tough year. But I got some good news for you. Our campaign came within 0.5% of winning, folks. 0.5% of winning. I've done this before. We've gotten this close, and this time we're ready to get over the top. And to answer your question, ma'am, in advance, we won Maricopa County in 2014. We did. We won Pima County in 2014. We won Coconino County in 2014. You're probably thinking, how the heck did you lose, Garcia? Right? And it's because voter turnout was historically low, particularly in Maricopa County. Look, folks, if we do not get people out to vote, we're not going to win. We got to get brand new people out to vote to win. I know that. That was the lesson from 14. So when Doug Ducey signed the voucher bill, because I'm not a politician and I don't have a history of time before me looking for the next step, I knew that the fight for public education was at the governor's office. Because as soon as we allow vouchers to happen, we have given up on the American dream, folks. Thank you. Thank you. We have. And so that's the fight I'm in. So what's going to change? What's Arizona going to look like? Number one, you will never have a governor more committed to public education than me, folks. I am an educator. We have the backing of our education community. That's going to happen, number one. Number two, we're going to look every Arizonan in the eye and tell them that we are committed to affordable, accessible health care for every single Arizonan. We are not going to toggle that out anymore. Three, we're going to push for Arizona to become a solar superpower, folks. We've got to do that for renewable energy. Or we're going to look at young people as a military veteran and tell them assault weapons have no place on our streets, universal background checks are need to go into law. And last, for you teachers out there, we're not going to hand you a gun to ask you to walk around campus. It's a ridiculous idea. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to have sensible immigration policy. We're going to stop making immigration a political issue. We're going to simply stop that. And when we do, we're going to have some sensible solutions. I stand behind our dreamers. I believe they are as American as I am. And providing education to them is putting us on the right side of history. And we are, and we're certainly going to do that. So that's what Arizona is going to look like. And last, on top of all of that, when we get all that together, the one that matters to me the most is Arizona will go from being one of the worst places in the country to be a kid to one of the best places in the country to be a kid. Because that matters a lot. So how are we going to get there? Well, as I said before, the key is voter turnout. Look, everybody in here, I'm assuming, voted in 16, correct? I don't have to out you if you didn't vote. But here's the deal. We need new people to come on board, folks. We need brand new people. And our campaign is built on doing just that. Getting out to brand new folks. I had a meeting the other day, and somebody who had been in Democratic politics on Sunday came to our meeting. And he sat down and said, I don't recognize a single person here. And I said, that's exactly right, because that's what we need to do as a party. We are the campaign to win in November. We're also the campaign that Doug Ducey doesn't want to face, folks. He doesn't want to stand next to an educator to remind him of all of his faults in public education. He doesn't want to stand next to an Army vet. He's a guy who served ice cream. I'm a guy who served our country, folks. Is that right? And to make that happen, we need to be running a statewide campaign. It is the reason why nearly every major Democratic organization that has been in the good fight for a long time is behind our campaign. The Arizona Education Association, the National Planned Parenthood, National Organization for Women, UFCW, Unite Here, trying to think of who else. AFL-CIO, Building Trades are behind us. National progressive organizations, Democracy for America, People's Action, Working Families, Vote Vets, Latino Victory Project are behind our campaign. We have 2/3, 60% of our elected state Democrats have endorsed our campaign, as well as 60 governing board members from across Arizona, folks. We are running a statewide effort already. We have 4,700 volunteers that are already walking and knocking, lots of them here today to come out, and thank you very much to our DG team for coming out, who are already walking and knocking. We've made 149,000 voter contacts already as a campaign. And so let's just tell you one more time, we've done this once. We got this close last time. That included getting a number of Republicans to do something rather remarkable. Go Republican, and get down to us and go Democrat. We add brand new energy, new people, brand new energy with respect to people coming out in the Democratic Party. You add all that together, folks, we're going to win this thing. We're going to make history. We're going to change the perception of Arizona, because one of the things we're mostly known for, whether we like it or not, is how we've treated our Latino community in this state, isn't it? Yeah. But on November 7th, when Trump wakes up, he's going to realize that Arizona just elected a guy named Garcia, governor of Arizona, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you. Two questions. Yes, sir.
Your platform of students, of teachers, improve our education system here. How do you propose to pay for it?
Sure. Our platform to improve public education. Number one, first thing we're going to do over and over again is tie education to economic development. We've got to do that over and over again. It is no secret and not a surprise that the areas that are prospering have commitments to human capital, universities and great K-12 system. So we're going to talk about those two things hand in hand. But there are three things we need to do. Number one, I am in support of the Invest in Education Act, which if you don't know, is the next step for the Red for Ed movement to put a dedicated revenue source on the ballot, and I have endorsed that act, number one. Number two, we're going to close as many tax credits as we can, starting with private school vouchers. And this is not about private schools. This is because when I raise my right hand to defend and uphold the Constitution of Arizona, my job is to create amazing public schools, and we can't meaningfully do that if we let money escape. And third is closing corporate loopholes and giveaways in this state. You combine those, thank you. You combine those three things, and we are now in the position to return. And this is what educators are asking for. Think about this. Educators are asking for an investment of $1.1 billion to go back to education, to get us back to 2008 levels. What year are we in, folks? 18. I mean, it sounds like a big price tag, but we have cut so deeply in this state that it's going to take us $1 billion to get a decade behind. And we simply have to have higher expectations. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to ask corporations and others moving to Arizona to be prepared to invest in this state when they get here. And let me tell you what, I'm born and raised here. Many of you chose to come here. I am done with Arizona marketing itself as the cheapest place around, folks. I'm done with it. I firmly believe that it is degrading our state to say, come here, we're cheap. No, come here because we're beautiful. Come here because we have fantastic communities. Come here because we have diversity. And when we're done, come here because we have one of the finest public education systems in the country. And when you do, be ready to invest in this state. One more. Listen.
The millennials.
Millennials.
They're the groups that are not voting. They're
Sure.
the ones who have not been coming out to vote. In talking to some people, just myself, they're saying the candidates aren't talking to them. They're worried about student loans.
Sure.
They're worried about university tuition. They're worried about equal pay.
Yep.
What is your policy in terms of those things?
Sure. So, number one, our first policy is to uphold the Constitution of Arizona, which reads very clearly that public universities need to be as nearly free as possible. Now think about that. That was Bernie before Bernie was Bernie. I mean, that is hugely progressive for this state, isn't it? And that is a commitment, and we recognize that that investment is going to allow young people to get into the marketplace, to get out there and create a business, take some risks, and do some things that they presently can't do right now. In terms of engaging them, I've heard that. We are working very hard. I'm a college professor, and so I work directly with a lot of millennials. But I will tell you, our campaign is packed with a bunch of young folks, a bunch of millennials are joining our campaign to help, along with a lot of young Latinos. There we go, one right there waving their hands. Two right there waving their hands who are joining us today. Look, I think ultimately what young voters are looking for is authenticity, and they're looking for folks to stand by their convictions. I completely agree with you. And lastly, they want to see some contrasting candidates. They want to see somebody up there that when they look at them, they know, you know what? We are convinced Arizona's going to go in a different place when we go for this person.
And the U of A is a land-grant university.
And the U of A is a land-grant university. That's exactly right.
We should be way cheaper than we are.
We absolutely should be way cheaper. Look, our plan, our goal is to uphold the Constitution that is as nearly free as possible.